This line came from the furnace under the bed, under the shower, under the bathroom sink to the living room. Due to it being cut, all the heat was dumping into the area under the sink instead of the living room. I had to remove all the trim in between and cut the wall board under the shower off with an oscillating saw to access it. Instead of buying a 4-inch duct connector for $7, I bought a roll of 6-inch by 10-foot aluminum roof flashing. I cut about a 7-inch length, rolled it up and inserted it into each end of the cut. It expands, and then you tape with extreme temperature foil duct tape.
So in addition to the crushed vent lines, there was a hole in the top of the furnace here. It was actually taped over with this white duct tape and was melted and blowing off. I removed it before taking a picture, unfortunately, but as you can see, I put a piece of metal on top and retaped it with actual extreme temperature foil tape, which is what you're supposed to use with something like this, because this little furnace box gets very, very hot. You can see on the side here, this regular duct tape that has plastic surfacing is melting, and that's what was happening here. So air, in addition to blowing out of cut vents, was just literally blowing out of the top of the furnace underneath the bed, and it was scalding hot, this piece of wood. And you know, none of these are really taped properly. This one has just one piece of tape on top, one piece of tape on top that is clearly melting like this was. So basically re-engineering the entire furnace system on both sides. Fun. So this furnace has 4 vents, one going to the bedroom, one going to the living room, and one going to the bedroom, and one small one going to the bays. I feel like my bays are not getting enough heat when it's really cold, and it gets very worrisome. They get down to below 32. So, and the bedroom is scalding hot, because there's another furnace on the other side that has 2 vents in the bedroom. And so I'm actually going to block this bedroom vent, and I'm going to take off this bathroom one and just make it smaller, so that there's just a little bit of air going to the bathroom, good bit of air going to the living room, and force hopefully some more air into that smaller vent tube to go to my bays. So just removed 2 screws from this side and pulled the tube off and just unscrewed the flange, and I'm actually going to take out those 2 screws there and slide my piece of metal up underneath of these, and then just put a couple of sheet metal screws back in their place to go through both the frame and the covering. Okay, so as I said before, I disconnected the bedroom vent from the AC. Also noticed that every one of these seams was leaking, as was the perforations where you punch out and put your vents. So this whole box was basically a big leaky mess, and I put foil tape over the whole thing. The way this works is cold air gets sucked in here, there's a wall that runs across the middle where these screws are, and then it pressurizes the air in this box and pushes it out to the vents. Bigger vents first, and then smaller vents second. And it also, the longer the vent run, the more resistance, and it'll take a path of less resistance. So this is the bedroom, or this is the living room, this is the bathroom, and this is the bays. I actually took the bathroom collar and put a piece of metal over about half of it, because we're getting way too much heat in the bathroom as well. So I'm hoping to divert some heat from the bathroom, closed off the bedroom because the bedroom is always smoking hot, taped up the vent for the living room. It had holes in it, so there's tape the whole way around there, sealed everything with aluminum heat resistant foil tape. So now all I have to do is reconnect the bathroom vent and turn it on and see how it does. I'm actually going to leave that open like that, because I'm going to at some point put in a little fan or something on the other side to try and pull some air through this box, so it's not so hot. Okay, one last video on this one. Fired it up and ran my hand across everything. Nothing's leaking. It's very tight, and got a a lot of air coming into the living room, which is what we wanted. We have a small amount of air coming into the bathroom, which is what we wanted, and there's a better volume of air going to the bays now. So I think this is going to be a success here. The last thing update on this furnace fix, this this electrical wire junction box was located over here down very low, and so these wires are actually stretching across and touching, you know, these vents coming out of the furnace, and these actually get very, very hot right here when this furnace is on. So I relocated the junction box over closer to the wall to get all the wires off of the vents here, and then this outlet on the side of the bed, the electrical wires for that were coming up and touching this very closely right here, and again, very hot. So for now, I'm just kind of taking the outlet out and set it down there. I'll get a waterproof junction box and rewire it so that the wires are down safely away from the furnace. And moving the junction box, I noticed that this little connector for the microwave was cracked, and instead of just replacing the connector, somebody put a piece of white duct tape over top of it, but the microwave was basically shorting out. You could hear it kind of sparking and shorting out. So for now, I've kind of taped it a little more securely with this electrical tape, but I'm going to probably have to get a replacement connector here and wire this back in there so I don't feel nervous about having a short in a wire underneath a wooden bed.
This line comes from the furnace under and behind the sink area and the rear dining bench and goes to the vent under the fridge. You can access it by removing the panel under the range. Haven't yet, but we'll fix with the same 6-inch roll flashing and extreme temperature duct tape. This line is way back attached to the slide wall and goes to one of the bedroom vents. You can see it by removing the panel under the range, but it's too far back to access it from there. I may take the back of the dinette's front-facing seat apart to access this and inspect the furnace. I have a good amount of heat in the bedroom, so I may just leave it.